On, yeah, on recording, can you put it on spotlight and record it, please?
I'm on speaker mode. Is that okay?
Yeah, speaker mode is fine.
Purnima, I'll do one thing. When I'm about to start, I will say as I take the names, please put on your video so that everybody can see. So then accordingly, then they can be pinned, okay?
Okay.
So Grishma, you'll pin them, right? But I will make the announcement before I start the introductions. That please on your video when I call your name.
Okay.
So that then you can pin them and whatever. Is that correct?
Let me know the moment Frenny ma'am gets in.
Krishna gives me a heads up once you go live on FB.
I think we are already live.
We are live now.
Okay.
Call.
Namaskar. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm delighted.
Maya, how are you?
Can you all see Jana ma'am?
Jana ma'am was trying to connect. I think she was unable to connect. I had accepted her. She was unable to connect.
So we're live, we're on, and I think it's important now. I think we're visible and audible to everyone now.
Frenny, we are waiting for you. One minute. Grishma, Jana ma'am is saying she's unable to get through.
I have accepted her twice, ma'am.
Jana, she has accepted you twice.
Purnima, I think you need to start.
Okay. Shall we start, Vrinda?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Good evening and namaste to all of you. On behalf of AECED National, I welcome you to the first of the series of our 8 Spotlight webinars, showcasing exemplary ECC practices from the 4 corners of our country, from the urban to the rural, from government to private settings. The response to the webinar has been tremendous. So extending a very warm welcome to participants from overseas and also from the length and breadth of our nation. From the hills and the mountains to the small coastal towns, from the desert cities through the Gangetic Plain, right up to the tea gardens in the east. A warm welcome to the 8 organizations and their representatives, to our special invitees who are our well-wishers, who have been part of IAP and now part of AECD and are present this evening. A special acknowledgement to stalwarts like Freni Tarapur, Nalini Chugani, Jana Mahadevan, Dr. Vinita Kaul. On behalf of AECD, I wish to thank you for being there today and our deep gratitude for your invaluable contribution to the field of early childhood. A warm welcome also to all the EC members of the various branches of AECED. From the data collected, we found that 89% of the participants today are non-members. So a little about who we are. Rishma, can you please share the screen? Well, that's who we are, Association for Early Childhood Education and Development, and our motto being quality care and education for all children. Next. Everybody has a history, and so do we. AECD was formerly known as the Indian Association for Preschool Education, that is IAPE. We were established in 1964 and started in New Delhi in Lady Irwin College Department of Child Development in the presence of the first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Next. IAPE aimed to empower concerned adults through professional development workshops and refresher courses. Yes, next. We were supported by NCRT, government functionaries, and eminent educationists, and hence was invited by the government to be on various committees for ICDS, Anganwadis, Child Welfare, Balwadis, and Maharashtra's government's of Ram Joshi Commission. We were part of it to review the preschool education in the state and training of their teachers for their new English medium schools. Well, at that time, after that, there was a lot of research coming in this field, and we realized that IAP was really not meeting the whole diaspora of ECE. So in 2008, IAP was dissolved and we came out in a new avatar where we were registered under the Societies of Registration Act, and we were looking at children from 0 to 8 years of age. Next. Our new mandate became a right-based approach. We worked with parents, children, and other stakeholders to provide for holistic development of the child. Next. Well, our work with government functionaries. At the state level, we provided recommendations to regulate ECC centers in Maharashtra. Next. We also contributed in formulating regulatory guidelines for creche and daycare services in Maharashtra. And at the national level, AECED was part of the nationwide group to give feedback on draft NEP. And we're so happy to know that many of our recommendations were taken into consideration. Next. Our national, AECED National, is at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Department of Human Ecology, Mumbai. And you can see the various activities which are taken up at the national. Well, because we were advocating national policies, hence we were part of many of the state and national policies. Our conference is coming up in November. Please look out for it. We'll keep you in, we'll let you know about it. And we also provide teacher resources in form of stories, songs, craft work. And today we are doing the first of our seminars on acknowledging good practices. We network with organizations. You will see with Bala Mandir how we are networking with them as one of the organizations. And if you believe, in case you wish to open a branch in your state or city to spread quality education based on child development principles and the course that we believe in, we will help you to open a branch of AECED over there. Our organization, okay, next. Well, these are our branches. The branches are doing all this, which you can see in their own cities, in their own states. And the Mumbai branch is a very proactive branch where we are doing this professional development workshops for early childhood educators. These are aligned to the guidelines given in the NEP. In fact, NEP's Nipun Bharat project, just released, emphasizes on foundational literacy and numeracy, which our August webinars are focusing on. These are certificate courses. They're all available on our website in case you are interested. The organization is comprised of professionals from varied fields, and we are all working in an honorary capacity for AECED. And AECED brings together these professionals who contribute honorarily and share their expertise so that we can give our children a safe and joyful childhood. Next. The Mumbai branch comes out with 2 e-newsletters every year. And these e-newsletters are sent to all members across the country. And we invite you, if you have some good practices to share, please do that. We'll reach it to everybody in this field. Next. Well, we network with Bala Mandir Research Foundation. Okay, and they have come out with a program to enable schools to conduct parenting programs through the LTPC calendar, which is a pictorial tool developed by Hinks Delcris Center, Toronto, Canada, but it is adapted to Indian conditions, as you can see from the cover of the manual. It is adapted to our conditions. Well, if you're interested, you can contact us at these 2 email IDs. Next. We have a membership format, which we have 2 types, institutional and individual. We offer 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years membership. The membership forms are available on our website. Next. So if you are a parent, a teacher educator, a researcher, teacher, student, an institution or an NGO, come join us so that we can make this space more robust. Next. So you can take a screenshot of this. This is our website, our email address. You can contact us. And these are the 2 contact numbers. You can always contact us over here. Thank you very much. And I now invite our President, Dr. Vrinda Datta, to inaugurate the webinar series. Dr. Vrinda.
Good evening, everybody. Evening. Very, very warm welcome to all of you. As Purnima said, it has been very, very exciting to know that today what we have is a group all across India, from the cities, towns, villages. And that's very, very exciting for us that we have been able to reach as AECD to so many of you. So do welcome to this interesting series that we have planned for you. I also extend my warm welcome to the stalwarts who have come, and also to the friends of AECD who have always been with us to help us and take forward the work of AECD. So as Purnima has been saying, that AECD is basically trying to uh, work with a mission of quality care and education for all children. And this AECD does in various ways. So for example, in 2020, we have had a series of webinars, some on the national education policy, some on parenting toolkit for during COVID-19, and a special Women's Day wellness event for teachers and practitioners on yoga and therapeutic sessions. So that's a lot we offered in the last 1.5 years. And as was mentioned, that we also have our national conference, and it is very exciting for us that we are now planning in November an international conference, virtual conference, which will be on reimagining and reshaping early childhood care and education, the new normal. So this is going to be in November. So look forward to our announcements, and do join in when we have the conference. Coming to today's event, it is the beginning of the series that we are having, webinars that we're having on conversations with exemplary early childhood practitioners. Uh, I want to go back to our conferences, that in every conference that we have done, there used to be a session on voices from the field. And this is one of the sessions which, from the feedback that we got, is the most enjoyed, and everybody felt that was a lot of learning that they got from that sessions. And we continued that practice in every conference. But that also made us to think that if this is what people can take, then what happens is that when they listen to these organizations, they feel there are some doable good practices which they can do, they can adapt. And therefore, we felt that the more people come to know about this would be a better way of bringing about a change in the ecosystem towards quality early childhood programs. So that is the main reason we felt that the webinars would be a good way to kind of portray these organizations and create this series to take it to a larger audience. So today now we have in this first series, we have 8 organizations who are going to do the presentations over a period of 6-8 months. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce all the organizations today, so that people come to know these organizations and also look forward to interacting when the webinars are going to happen. And these dates have already been announced, so you'll be able to know when these organizations are going to do their presentations. So today we have the presentation from Sumita Malik of Shiv Nadar School at Noida, NCR. This school has been very successful in building the differentiated experiences for children, and that which leaves no child behind is what they have been working at. So in fact, as I was just mentioning some time back, that in the 2018 conference we did in Delhi, some of us had the opportunity to visit the Shiv Nadar school and see the inclusive practices, which were very fascinating and was much appreciated by one of the participants who visited it. So we look forward to this presentation, Sumita. We then have Mr. Farhad Merchant, Dr. Iqbal Sama, and Mrs. Amita Mithani from Aga Khan Educational Services, and particularly running the Aga Khan preschools in Gujarat. which is following the Shishu Pahal pedagogy, and which is basically children first, children centric and children first in the curriculum. And they have developed contextualized quality preschools for rural Gujarat. We look forward to this presentation too. We then also have Ms. Madhuri Deshpande running the Ankur program in Pune. This program has been recognized for the work that they are doing with special needs children and also providing inclusive education. So this is something where we all have to learn from, because in the child rights perspective, no child can be denied any kind of education. So all of us have to know how to build these inclusive practices. So this is going to be a very interesting learning for us. Uh, we then have Ms. Binaifa Choga and Ms. Bhairavi Dholakia from Udyachal Pre-Primary and Primary School from Mumbai. And this is a large school which has been the thought leader in showing how playway and activity-based curriculums can be incorporated even in large schools, large number of students. In fact, this is a school which also practices playway and activity-based program in their primary curriculum also. So this is going to be, again, a very learning experience for all of us. I would like to mention here that the Udyachal school earlier principal, late Shirin Choksi, was a passionate member of IAP, and she is the one who laid the foundation in Udyachal towards this philosophy of playway and activity-based learning. So we remember her a lot when we talk of Udyachal school. We then have Mrs. Rati Bhosekar of Saraswati Mandir Trust, who has, which is in Thane, Mumbai, and which is a typical Marathi medium school, but she has been able to make a wonderful transformation of the school towards a child-centered play and activities-based program, and which gives a lot of importance to parent and community involvement. So this is again a very different experience that we will get to know. We then have Miss Lata Madhusudan of Prakruti, a Waldorf kindergarten, and Advaya Shalaya in Waldorf inspired school in Bangalore. And as the name suggests, it follows a very specific philosophy and creates a contextualized program trying to help children be close to nature and learn from nature. So this is another very interesting and a very different program that we have. We then have Mr. Chitranjan Kaul, Mr. Shikha Kundra, Mr. Halim Qureshi from the Center for Learning Resources, Pune. I think it is one of the first independent organization that focused early on early childhood. And for the past, I think 3 decades, they have been the thought leaders and contributed a lot in the policy, practice, and research. So very much a strong foundation for early childhood has come from this organization. And I think they are influencing a lot of changes in systems that by working with the government, and also helping the NGOs in the newer practices that they have tried out and created new interventions. So we look forward for this contribution too. We will then have Ms. Shubhra Chatterjee, Ms. Namrata Rawat, and Ms. Dr. Rashim Pal from Vikramshila Education Resource Society, West Bengal. So this organization also started its work in West Bengal, but within a few years, it has been able to spread its wings across 3 to 4 states, I think more than that. And they have been trying to work with the government to strengthen the system of ICDS through training, through curriculum development. And also they have been implementing the responsive childcare and parenting program in some states. So a lot to learn from them in terms of how to work with systems. Uh, I think I would like to thank each of these organizations for being so magnanimous and opening their doors to help us to know about their organization and learn from them. I think it's the excellent work that they are doing is surely going to help us to get inspired from that. So as AECD, it has been very exciting planning these 8 webinars, and we hope to continue and create many more such series and reach out to more organizations. I also hope that all of us who are participating find it interesting, motivating, and very meaningful. We urge you to become members of AECD, where you'll feel the importance of being a professional member of the field of early childhood. So enjoy and best wishes. And I ask Purnima to start the session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vrinda. That was a beautiful note to start with. So just want to tell you that the format of the webinar will be through conversations, pictures, and videos. You can pose all your questions at the end in the chat box. We begin the first webinar. We begin the first webinar with the northern part of the country and an urban school. Some 30 kilometers from New Delhi is Noida, along the border of New Delhi and UP. And there along the Noida Expressway is Shiv Nadar School. Established in 2012 by the Shiv Nadar Foundation, which made its foray into K-12 urban private education with a vision to create lifelong learners who would grow into ethical, purposeful, respectful, and happy citizens of this country. Sharing their best practices, ECC practices of the school is today Mrs. Sumita Malik. She is the head of the early years with 29 years of experience in the field. She's a teacher, mentor, curriculum developer, administrator, amongst the various other hats that she dons. She is very passionate about education reforms, especially in the primary and the pre-primary levels. So good evening, Sunita, and namaste to you.
Good evening. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for having me here today.
It's good to have you for our first webinar. Tell us a little bit about your work at the Shiv Nadar School and what it entails. And how long have you been with Shiv Nadar School?
So I have been, this is my 9th year with the Shiv Nadar School. And we are very happy to celebrate our 10th anniversary this year of our school. So primarily almost since the very beginning, I've been associated with Shiv Nadar School, I would say that. And when I talk about the kind of work, what I primarily look at, I just nurture everyone who comes into the fold of early years. That's my work, whether it is the teacher, the parent, or the very important person in this journey, the child. And in this, yes, a lot of curriculum, teacher empowerment, parent empowerment, and very important work of teaching learning also comes. So yeah, that's the kind of work what I do.
I'm sorry, I have gone out somewhere.
We can see you, we can hear you as well.
But I can't see. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry about this. Okay, so amongst all this, what do you like most about your job?
So best thing I like is the newness of every year meeting new children, new parents, and working with that newness. Certainly there are challenges as well, because this also comes with its own set of challenges, but I think that is something what really excites me. And that challenge, what I see every year, makes me learn more. So that is something what I really nurture in my this profession.
Okay, so if you weren't going to, if you hadn't taken this career, what other career would you have taken?
Well, I think I would have been an archaeologist because that is something which is very, very close. Yes, yes. So very beginning, when I was very young, I was very fascinated by history and knowing more about the existence of everything. So yeah, maybe that would have been my second career, or maybe the only career, if not this.
Okay. 3 words to best describe you.
Reflective, ethical, and friendly, because friendly is something which is there in my name itself. Sumita is a good friend. So yes, so these are the 3 words what I can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we move on to, that's about you, Sumita, as a person. And we move on to the vision and philosophy of your school. What does the early years mean to your organization?
So since we know that, and we all believe that in Shiv Nadar school, we very, very truly believe that no child should be left behind, like what even Professor Vrinda was also sharing about our school. Keeping that thought in mind, we all know that first 8 years of any child's life is very critical for the development of the child, and we very strongly believe in that in our school. Now, at Shiv Nadar School, we create an enabling environment for our children to, for them to experience that kind of exposure where they are they're able to gain the 6 C's of education. The 6 C's of education are creator, citizenship, collaboration, critical thinking, also creativity, communication, which are also the 21st century skills. And we follow the constructivist approach in our school through an inquiry and project based and experiential learning, which also emphasizes a lot on asking questions and posing a lot of problems to our children and helping them collaborate amongst each other, so that because we know that this child, we always begin with the end in mind. We know that these children are going to be after 14 years in the world outside, where they would be needing these skills of collaboration, critical thinking, and all the 21st century skills. So those are very important for us to build in the early years. So when we look at this gamut of the years of the child, the base years of the child, we try to give these experiences to our children so that they become critical thinkers. Yeah.
Could you describe the early learning in the 21st century as envisioned by your school? Your use of, what about use of technology? How much does the child use? How much does the teacher use?
So as we all know, before 2020, I think nobody in early years, I think across the globe, anytime used to say that, you know, we should give technology to our such young learners. But 2020 has actually thrown us into a very different kind of scenario. And it has somewhere also made us realize that it important for us to document these things. So when we talk about our educators, they are constantly observing our children. And it is so important for a teacher to document that journey. Now, a paper can get lost, but a digital resource can be passed on to the next teacher. So our children certainly don't use technology at all. However, our teachers use a lot of technology. And we do a lot of research, and especially in 2020, because of the webinars across the globe, our teachers are able to experience more of what is happening across the globe in early years. They are able to learn more around that. So technology, use of technology for teachers is very, very important. But not for the learners, because in early years, they are the ones who should be doing a lot of things by hand and then learning. learning by doing, we all know, is the key at this stage, especially. Yeah.
That was so heartening to hear. Okay, what is the leadership hierarchy in your school? And according to you, how does leadership influence the empowerment of the teacher workforce?
Leadership, yes, really, empowers the teachers and everyone. But what we always believe is that every person is a leader. A teacher who's there in the class is a leader of her class. A child who's there in the group where he's working, he's the leader of that group. So we need to empower every child to become a leader. And with that thought process, we move ahead. Yes, we do have a organizational structure where we do have the heads, we do have the teaching learning leads, we have the form leads, then we have the teachers. So that's the kind of structure what we do have. But that really doesn't matter, because the way we work as a distributed leadership team. So when I say distributed leadership, whenever we have to take any decision, we take it to the team, and the team discusses everything about it, threadbare, whether it is what are the pros, what are the cons, what is going to be good about it, what is going to be bad about it, should we take this decision or not. And after that discussion, then we come to a conclusion, and then we take that decision. So it's not a decision taken just by one person, it's the decision taken by the team, and then ownership also comes from the team. So if we really look at leadership in that manner, it is certainly not in a hierarchical manner. It is quite a distributed leadership. And if you, as a leader, you do give that kind of autonomy to the staff, the teachers, they will certainly have that kind of a faith in you and would want to work for the organization. Just to give you an example, if there is, like I said, that teachers are leaders of their classrooms. Now a teacher wants to take a decision. As a head, I will respect that. And that decision can be right or wrong as well. So even if the teacher goes wrong, I can sit and make her understand that maybe this decision was not right. Next time we should avoid taking that. But we all know we learn from our mistakes. So it's all right for the teacher to also make mistakes. But we have to empower the teacher and empower everybody in the team to start taking decisions. And yes, there has to be a thin line where everybody should not just take every decision. It has to be bounced off and then discussed and then taken ahead. So that's the kind of structure is what I can share. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what are the core outcomes you work towards at the end of preschool?
So we always want our learners to be very confident, curious, happy inquirers, and they should always have a desire to know more, to find out more. That is something what we are looking at when they move out of early years. That's what they should have, because we always feel that if they are curious learners, they will never stop learning. And that is why we also our logo is also Education for Life for our school. Yeah, thank you.
So when you have this kind of outcomes that you are working for, so obviously you'll have some practices which we're all waiting to hear from you, your exemplary practices. So share with us your exemplary practices that an institution deeply owns and practices.
Thank you. So yeah, I will certainly show you the entire presentation, and I would like to begin with something which is very, very close to our heart. Though I'm going to be showing today all the differentiation practices, what we do, how we do differentiation in our school. However, to begin with, I will show, or maybe I will make you all experience something what we experience every day in our school in the morning when we reach school. So there is collective singing what we do, and we call it Sargam. And this is at a place where we call as Circle of Love. And why we call it Circle of love is because it is circular in nature and it is full of love. And this name was certainly given by a trustee to us. So I would just want you to experience a circle of love and the views of what we do. We can play the video. Thank you. Maybe we can play again. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So this is something what our children love doing. We also love being here. And this is a space where we not just come and sing, we do a lot of things here. If a teacher has to just make the child play with paint and not inside the class, the child will come out and do it. If during the rainy season, now we have a shed over it, but we never used to have a shed earlier. They used to be frogs all around. So frogs used to come out, and we used to bring our children out to see those frogs, so that they can experience how the frogs are also moving around, jumping around, hopping around. So a lot of fun activities what we do in this area, which is certainly full of love. That's why we call it Circle of Love. And
Sumita, can I just say something?
please.
Seeing the children over there singing away, how much you long for children to be back in their spaces. Huh? I think each and every one over here is feeling the same. Yes, sorry, continue. Yes, I couldn't help myself.
Absolutely, Purnima. I think this is what you're just saying is so true. Every time we look at these videos, we get goosebumps and we keep saying that when are we going to go back? And we often bring it to our children as well, because they're also missing these spaces. And we also make them see the school spaces so that they can stay connected and they always want to come back. So we just hope and pray that that happens very soon. Now, when we talk about differentiation, what I'm going to be sharing today, why differentiation? What exactly is differentiation? So when we talk about, you just saw that video, there were some children who were not wanting to sit and sing. There were some children who were just moving around. There were some children who were singing. There were some children who were just sitting quietly and listening. So every child is different. Every child is unique and learns in a very different manner. We all have everybody who's here, I'm sure in our journey of being educators, we all must have seen some children for the entire 1 year, maybe didn't say anything, were quiet listeners, and maybe after a year they suddenly started talking about everything what they heard in the first year. So how are we actually giving our children those experiences where they are taking in from the environment? So when we talk about that, it's very important for us to facilitate the child's learning at the child's pace. And that is why the differentiation is very important. And we believe that differentiation should not be only for children, for everybody who comes into our fold. And when we talk about differentiation, this is the entire way how we have put our differentiation program together. So there is a content, and when we talk about a content is the teaching and learning resource what I'm bringing as a teacher to my child. So how am I looking at that content to be relevant to my child, to my learner? Is it actually at the level of the child? If we can just stay at the previous slide, thank you. So so that is the content. And when we talk about the process, as I just said, that every child learns in a different way. So what is the preferred way of learning for a child? Am I a kinesthetic learner? We all know 90% of our children are kinesthetic learner. However, there are some children who would like to maybe just listen and learn, or there would be some children who would just like to be passive passive listeners, or maybe just see some things and learn. So there are different kind of learning. There are different kind of learners in our classes. So are we giving that kind of exposure in our lesson plan? We are planning like that, and we are giving that kind of exposure to our children. That's what we thought about, and that's what we brought in. When we talk about the product, now what is the product? Product is what the student is creating in this journey. What is whatever the child has learned, and whatever the child is actually creating during this journey of learning. And when we talk about the learning environment is the condition which is maximizing this learning. So it's very important when we talk about differentiation, we must look at all these four very important parameters when we are talking about differentiation. So if I can go to the next slide, thank you. So here, this is something what we do. So we do a lot of reading for our children. So we read to our children. We don't tell them to read, but we read to our children. And we know that there are children who are at a very different level. Maybe there is one child who's at a level of just picture reading. So, and there would be some children who are able to maybe read or listen to certain, maybe a liner or something, one line of the story, and able to comprehend what the teacher is saying. There is another level of learners who is able to also read a little difficult text and is able to make meaning, is able to connect to the, if we can just stay at the previous slide. Thank you, Akriti. So when we talk about the third level, where the child is at a level where the child can listen, can comprehend, can also make meaning to his own surroundings. So we look at these different kind of learners, different level of learners, and we bring that of that level to the child, because it's very important for children to taste success. Now, when we are talking about a child who is just familiar with just one maybe picture reading, so the teacher is just bringing this picture of a cat and talking just about the cat, and also maybe putting her a cat, so that the child is able to at least start understanding that this is how it is written. Now there is another child who is maybe able to blend and is also able to read. So there is one sentence given, and then there is conversation happening with the teacher at that level. Now the third level, what I was talking about, then there is a complex, at the child's level, it's a complex text what is given, and there's a lot of discussion happening around that text. So that's how we look at differentiation. When we talk about reading, and if we go to the next slide. Now, here, even in on this platform, on the digital platform, we are looking at giving this exposure to our children. So if you can see, there is on the one side, there is just a picture book, what the teacher... There is the teacher reading to the children. There's a small group of children who only are at the level of reading pictures. So a story is being narrated through just pictures. Now there's, on the other hand, you can see there is a story with a text. So these are the learners who can understand text, and some of them also, when they look at the print, they are able to, we all know print-rich environment always enhances reading skills for our children. So this is what is happening in the second slide. Can we go to the next slide? So when we talk about writing, we in Shiv Nadar school don't do writing in nursery at all. Nursery, when children who are 3.5-year-old, 3.5-year-old to 4 years, we don't even give them, we don't even expose them to a pencil. A lot of times parents come and say that in the preschool, the child had started writing this, why don't you make the child do? We don't do that because we all know the child is not ready to hold a pencil till the age of 5. But it's very important for the child to do the activities of fine motor development. So a lot of tearing, pasting, playing with Play-Doh, all of that happens. Now, after that, when we look at our child coming in KG, this is a KG child's entire work, what I'm showing here. So when a child comes to KG, the child is at a level of scribbling. So if the first thing where you see the child is just drawn a picture and the child has actually written something, this is an activity what we do in our school where this is the weather sheet, what we call the weather activity. Now to come to this stage, I would also like to share every day in from nursery first day, we talk a lot about the weather. And the teacher will say that, okay, how's the weather? Is it sunny? And there's a sunny card where sunny is written, which comes on that weather sheet, and she puts it there. The children are not writing, not reading, nothing. She's just saying, okay, today is sunny, there is sun made over there, and she just puts it there. So the child is just associating the picture with the word. The entire year, that's how the child's vocabulary is enhanced. And when the child comes to kindergarten, then we start giving them these sheets where the child actually looks at the weather, comes back and say, okay, today is a sunny day, I see sun, and the child is trying to draw and just attempting to write, rather scribbling here, which is great. Even if the child does not even scribble, just makes a circle and say today is or not even a circle, makes a line and say today is a sunny day, I see sun over there, the teacher just writes sunny. So the child understands, okay, what I'm drawing also, if I can write it like this and the print means meaning. And then the child gradually comes to a different level. And there are some children who are already at that level where we give them this level of sheet where the child is just writing one word. And there's another level where you can just say, there are certain things written, how is the weather today? It is a dash day. So the child is just wanting to write sunny. So the child has written sunny on its own, and the child also wanted to write a sentence like this, where I can see the sun. The child has written it like that. Now there is also another level of learner who's already crossed all these stages and now is ready to write within the lines. And then we give this sheet to that child who's at this level of writing. And the child very beautifully writes this, that today is a sunny day. So that's how we look at even progression of differentiation rather at every child's level. And we never force any child to write. So that is something what we always believe in, that if we give the right kind of exposure to our children, they themselves will start writing, and the want for writing needs to come, and then they start writing. So here, this is since in our school in early years, we also have grade 1, nursery KG grade 1. So in year 1, this is also another way where we do differentiation. So a story of Alexander and Mind of Mouse is a story which we bring to our children. And here, again, if you see the level of the text is at the child's learning level. So there is one where we give original text to the child, and the child is, the teacher reads that, or if the child is also able to read, great, then the child does that. And it helps to build imagination, and it provides a lot of different kind of imaginary, thought process for the child. And the teacher has a lot of dialogue around that as well with the child. So the text is the original text which we will give to this learner. Now there would be another child who's at a different level where we need to give a simplified text to the child. So it keeps the essence of the original story intact, but the text is simplified for the child to also comprehend and also make meaning for the child. Now there is another child who's at a different level where he needs more, even simplifier manner of text which has to be given to the child. And then again, the teacher simplifies that text here again. So that the child is, again, what is happening here for all the 3 levels of learners, the child is actually tasting success. That's very important. If we want the child to be readers, it's important for us to make them taste success. If we give a child who's at a 3rd stage, the modified text, if we give that child a reading of the original text, the child will never want to read. And we've seen it, that children, when they see too much of text, sometimes they just don't want to read it. So that is precisely the reason why we modify even the reading levels for our children. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Akriti. Yeah, thank you. So here, so that was the content what I was talking about. Now here is the process. When we are talking about that, each child is actually learning in the preferred learning style. So there is this child, we wanted our children to make something out of using something out of blocks using 15 blocks. So we just said, okay, take out 15 blocks and make whatever you want to make. So there's one child who's made a windmill. There is another child who's made an airplane. And we are absolutely okay with that. We are not saying that you all have to make airplane with 15 blocks. So we're just saying, okay, whatever you want to make, you make. And you can do that. There is another learner who's saying that, okay, I don't want to make it from blocks. I want to cut the banana in 15 pieces. Fair enough, do it. And then you just check whether you were able to do that or not. So the experience, what we give to the child, when we are making our lesson plan, we make sure that we are catering to every learner and every learning style, so that the child is able to learn at his level or her level and at a preferred learning style. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, this is also another, another picture of the process, where even if the child wants to sing and share the story to us, we are okay with that. The child is also doing that. There are some children who want to, even if we are making them learn some, not learn, maybe just associate themselves with the letters and their sounds. So there is a game what we create. The teacher will say, I will just say the sound, you have to look at the word and you have to go and look at the letter and you have to go and jump on that. So that's, again, we are differentiating at the level of the learner. Yeah, if we can go to the next slide, Akriti. So this is, like I said earlier, we do a lot of projects in our school, since we have we follow a lot of project-based learning as well, and inquiry learning. So this is a project what our children had done. So we had in Delhi that time, there was a lot of pollution which was happening, and we just and because of pollution, the schools were getting shut. And what we did was, we asked our children that we all want to come to school. Now, what should we do? Because the pollution is there, and we are not able to travel in our vehicles. Sometimes we also, when we are in our school buses or in our cars, there's traffic jam, so we really can't come at the right time. So what should we do? So our children said, and there was also some floods happening around in India. So we were also talking about all of that to our children. So our children said that we would like to make our own dream vehicles. So we said, great, that's fair enough. Make your own dream vehicles if you want to. So what would we need? So we were asking questions from them. And our children were then deciding that, okay, we will need the material, and we'll have to first make a design for the car, whatever vehicle we want to make, and all of that. And we just gave them this opportunity to decide for themselves that everyone cannot make the prototype of the dream vehicle. So some children have to decide, you all have to decide who has to make it. Not everyone can do it. And they also said that, okay, we need material. What is the material what we need? We said we can't buy anything. We are not going to be buying, we can stay on the previous slide, please. We can't buy anything right now. You will have to just look for material for your dream vehicle from the school. So some children say that, okay, we will take the responsibility of going and looking for the material. Some children say that, okay, we will go and interview people and we will find out what is the material we would be requiring and what is the material available. So children, there was autonomy given to them at their level. They chose that who's going to draw the prototype, and then who's going to be explaining the prototype to the entire team, that this is what we are going to be making. Who are the ones who are going to be going and finding out where is the material, what is the material, what we need. So that's what you can see here. And the prototype, what you see, is made by our kindergarten children. And so there's a child who's drawing the prototype. There are some children who are explaining. There are some children who are also going and interviewing people in the school that, okay, what is the material, what we can use for our vehicle. If we can go to the next slide, please. And then our children and some children chose to just paint. Some children said that, okay, this is the material what we have got. We will maybe do paper mache on that. So if you see, there are children who are doing things at their own level. And there are some children who are also confident enough to talk about their dream vehicle to our CEO. So they're just explaining that what all things we have made, and this dream vehicle is going to go and will also save people from the flood and suck the water and throw the water in a place where the people need water. So that's the kind of thinking what our children had. And it was really beautiful to see how children at their own level made this entire project of the dream vehicle. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Akriti, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is also the product where our children, this is in the on this platform, the digital platform, where our children were actually creating their own city. And our children, so this was, we had a lot of discussion and we said, okay, you can make your city the way you want to. So some children, they drew it and the child is explaining it because she feels comfortable doing that. There were some children who made their own entire model of their city, and then they were talking about their entire city. And some children were just wanting to read a story of a city and how somebody was exploring the city. So we were all right with that, because we wanted to just see that whether learning is happening or not. And it was very much visible in all the different kind of products which came out from children. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. And here is the learning environment. So when we talk about the learning environment, which I said always enables the learner to learn in the maximum way what the learner feels comfortable. So there are some children who would like to learn in a smaller group, interacting with the other children. So the teacher will sit with them and she will talk about certain things in a smaller group. There are some children who would like to just talk to the teacher or maybe learn or read the book with the teacher in one-on-one session. So that's how we look at it. There are some children who are confident enough to also present and maybe read it to the to other children or to the teacher, or maybe also sometimes present what the child herself has experienced. So these are the different kind of learning environment what we give, especially on this platform. Yeah, if we can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so here also, if you can see, our children, these are nursery children, and we all know children love to mess their hands. And if you can see in the picture in the middle, children are actually wanting to write alphabets, and they're writing alphabets on foam. So they like messy work, we all know. So we give them that messy work. And in that messy work, they are actually learning how to write a letter, or how the letter looks like. And in the picture in the extreme, on the extreme left, there is the child who's standing is actually exploring the sand letters. So these are sand letters where the child can actually touch and feel and see how the letter actually looks like. And the children who are sitting down on the same picture, they are at a different level. They already know this is also letter sound association, what is happening, but they moved to a next level of blending. So this is a game what we had created ourselves, and children are playing a game of finding the letter, finding two letters and blending there. And if you look at the child on our extreme right, this child wants to sit individually and do Hindi blending. So the child is actually doing that. So if you look at the environment, learning environment is flexible enough to give that opportunity to the learner to explore at the child's level and keep learning. You can go to the next slide. This is something where that we'll just play the video. You will be able to see that in a while. Here again, this is the learning environment. We have different choice tables. Here, if you will just notice, every child is wearing a ribbon. This is like a color. This is a color medal what we make for them. And the teacher knows that my child is at this level where he needs to be exposed to more fine motor development. So I will keep this maybe red medal for him to go on the red table. And when the child, we are also giving the autonomy there. We just tell children that we've created these corners. Only 3 children or 4 children will go at this corner. And we just teacher will talk to this child and say, okay, you yesterday went to the Play-Doh corner. Why don't you go to the paint corner today or the color corner today? So the child will be very excited to go. And the child wears the ribbon and goes there. And here the child is actually associating colors with the beads, and the child is holding the beads also. And the other child who's sitting next to him is actually doing paper tearing. And you will see, I would just like you to just hear and see, and then maybe I'll talk more about it. If we can just play this, thank you.
Blue here? No. Why? I am here. No, but can I put blue here? ये गलत हो जाता है. So which color will come here? Yellow. Okay. And what is Shwari doing? Shwari, what are you doing? You're carrying paper. And what are you going to make with it? Do you want to make something, or you just want to tear it and keep it with you? Make something. What are you going to do? Smiley. You're going to make a smiley? A big smiley or a small smiley? Small. Okay, wonderful. All right. What are you all making here? One by one. And who are you making this? For your mama?
Yes, so here you can see that the teacher is also telling the other child who is wanting to speak. She just did a gesture, and the child knew the norms of the class, that okay, now my turn will come, but right now the teacher is actually sitting in and talking to my friend, and she will later on come to me. So the children are also at ease, because the exposure or the learning levels what we are giving to the child is at the child's level. And I'll just share here, these things also came out when we started looking at our children so very closely, and we started reflecting that why do we have these behavioral problems in our classes. And when we started looking at those behavioral problems, that is when we decided that no, it can't be one size fits all. It has to be at different levels. And we need to look at each and every child so closely, and then that's how we have to bring the learning at that child's level. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So When we are talking about differentiation in Shiv Nadar school, what is the key elements what we look at for the differentiation entire program? We have a baseline, and we have monthly trackers for our children. We have IEP and GEP. We also have robust monitoring and reflecting, where we monitor every child and we reflect on the how every child is moving ahead. So that's how we look at.
Yes, Sumita, you had mentioned about IEP and GEP, and we were very keen to know what it stands for. So will you tell us how you implement it during, in your day-to-day, as well as last 1.5 years, all of us are on to online teaching. Then how do you implement this IEP and GEP with your online teaching?
Absolutely, Purnima ji. In fact, I'll show you what IEP and GEP is also. I will also tell you IEP is individual educational plan and GEP is group education plan. So if and when we reach to IEP and GEP, there is a prelude to that. There is a first step to reaching to the IEP and GEP is baseline. Baseline assessment. And if we can just go to the next slide. Now, baseline assessment, when we hear, we might just think, oh, assessment, are we giving paper and pen to children or something like that? No, we never do that. The child never comes to know that we are actually looking at the level of the child, because it's very important for us as educators to know from where I have to begin working with my child. And that is why we do these assessments for our children. Now, these assessments, the child will never know, the parent will never know, but it's for us teachers. We will create such fun activities where the child is playing. So whether it is sorting of the pictures or maybe some spatial awareness activities what we are giving, or even if we are doing some fine motor activities with our children, this will tell us, because we are looking at the developmental milestones of our children. Now, this will tell us that what is the level of my child, where my child is. Is it that I need to give more exposure of fine motor activities to my child? Like in the previous video, we all saw that the teacher was actually wanting to give that exposure to those children. Who there was one who was doing paper chairing, there was one who was picking up the beads and putting. So she knew that she has to give that exposure to the child, and she knew that because she had the baseline. And keeping the level of the baseline, then the teacher goes to the individual education plan. If I go to the next slide. So in the individual education plan, we look at the level of the child and we monitor and we assess the development of the child. And we look at, we have to record it, because it's very important for us to not just think that I think my child is at this level. That is not a true assessment what we are doing, and we will not be able to do justice to the child then. As teachers, sometimes we always do that. I think I know where my child is. Every teacher knows, but it's very important for us to document it. Otherwise, we generally forget. That is why we have this IEP. Now, IEP is for every child in the class. After doing this IEP, when we record the level of the child, then we know that broadly there are 3 levels of learners in the class. So we group them and we then make the GEP, that is group education plan, which is this. So here, what we do is that we look at what are the similar reading levels, or maybe what are the similar levels of children. It could be that 5 children need similar kind of exposure for fine motor development. There are 4 children who would need the similar kind of exposure for maybe numeracy. There would be some children who would need similar kind of exposure for language. So that's how for language, we will club these children in group A and the same child might go to group B or group C when it comes to the maybe fine motor development. So that's how we look at the group education plan. And this group education plan is reviewed quarterly, because our children are constantly growing, and they are learning at their own pace, and we all know that it is so very rapid. And some child within, we see sometimes they just move to the next level with focus intervention just within maybe 2 months as well. So sometimes as a teacher, she knows that, okay, my child is now getting bored at this, in this group, I need to again go back to my GEP and review it.
Okay.
So that is why we've kept those 3 months.
Okay. So there's so much of differentiation happening. So when this happens and you're respecting each child's needs, so inclusion is a very crucial part. And if it is not, suppose it is not disclosed by the parent for whatever reason, could be the parent is not aware or is not willing to come to terms, or the child has either, the child goes without being worked with, or has been labeled by the school, or even if the child is really does not have any special needs. How do you work with this aspect of inclusion?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Purnima. So what happens is that we saw this in our school. Sometimes what happens is when teachers are also giving these, they are working with the group education plans with the children, and there are still some children who would need more. And the teacher will say, I think this child is a SEN child. The teacher will just label, because we're not really looking at every child at that level. So we've actually put another system in place where when we review this group education plan after every 3 months, we also look at the movement of the child. And then we have the elevation session. Now, elevation is actually just remediation. Now, we have named it elevation because remediation is a very negative word. We don't want to, again, label any child that this child is going for remediation classes. We want to elevate the child from that level of learning to a next level of learning. Hence, we've named it as an elevation session. Now, these are just to bridge those gaps. Now, in this very focused one-on-one session, and sometimes there are 2 children clubbed together to do certain things together. Now, what happens is when our children are working in the elevation program, our children are also, so the elevation teacher is working hand in hand with the class teacher, because she knows what is happening in the class. And then she's also looking at bridging the gap, whatever, say if in the class, the teacher is doing CVC words, blending of CVC words, but the child is at a level where the child is just doing letter sound association. So the elevation teacher will work a lot robustly with letter sound association, certainly through games. It's never where we make the child sit and do anything. In fact, children love to come to our elevation room because a lot of fun happens over there as well. So, so the teacher is going to work a lot at that level where the child gets the letter sound association, and then she will very quickly start blending also with the child, and then integrate the child into the class. And she will also come to the class and sit and support the child there. So even if there is a child who's in elevation and is at a level where he's sitting in the class, but just needs a little bit of scaffolding, a little bit of support there, so our elevation teacher will sit in the class, and then she will be helping the child there. That's how we look at it. Now we also, sorry.
Yeah.
No. So we also have the special educational needs for our children. From the elevation, sometimes we also come to know, we call our special educators to also observe our children. If we feel that, no, there is something else, it's not a gap. Then we look at the child, and then we start working with the child, where we give very focused intervention of special needs intervention, or occupational therapy intervention as well. That's how we work on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Sumita. Well, NEP talks a lot about professional development of our teachers, who are the backbone. What is your school? What are the plans of your school? for the professional development of your teachers?
So our school does a lot of things. Maybe if we can go to the next slide. We do a lot of, okay, maybe before that, if I can just also share regarding this, Purnima ji, if it's okay.
Yes, sure.
So this is also a part of when we are talking about every child needs that one-on-one intervention. We also do counseling and well-being session for our children. In fact, last year when we were just wanting to come back to school, there were some children who needed physical one-on-one support. We had started calling children to school. You can see the child wearing a mask and is in school. So it's a counseling session what we gave to the child coming to the school and also to other children as well. So a lot of well-being and counseling sessions what we do for all our children. We also work very closely with our parents. So if you can just go to the next slide. Yeah, so we do a lot of sessions for our parents because we feel the parents are true partners in this journey of ours, and we never want that our children should feel that they are our parents should feel that they are doing something else, because the way we teach, the way we do things in our school is little different than how our parents have been taught and they have grown. So we don't want our child to get confused, and that's why we always do a lot of pedagogy sessions, coffee morning sessions, a lot of sessions for our parents to know what we do, how we do, so that we are on the same page. And we never say, we never believe in us and them. We always believe that we both as parents and school will work together for our children. And also we do a lot of things, coming to your question, Purnima ji, about teacher empowerment. We do a lot of teacher empowerment as well. And before we go to the teacher empowerment, this is a very, I think it's a very good video which I would like to show you. When I was talking about our parent community, we are a RTE compliant school, and we do have our economically weaker section parents. We don't call them economically weaker section because, again, we feel that's labeling our parents. So they're coming from a neighborhood community, so we call them neighborhood parents. And we do our you can call it adult literacy program, what we have for our parents. Why we named it P5 is because it is pre-primary parent partnership program. That's why we've called it P5. And we used to, we did a lot of sessions for our parents, our neighborhood parents, where we were empowering them to be at par with the other fee-paying parents as well. So just a glimpse of that, and then I will surely dive into your question of teacher empowerment. Okay. You can play the video.
एक लाइन में अगर आपको बताना हो ये P5 है तो आप क्या कहेंगे?
P5 हम जैसों की जिंदगी सुधारने के लिए बहुत अच्छी क्लास है,
क्योंकि हमें बहुत अच्छा लगता है और कुछ सीखने को मिलता है जो कि हम पहले खो चुके थे, उन्हें थोड़ा बहुत ये ताज़ा याद आ जाती है और कुछ अपने बच्चों को भी समझा सके जो कि आता नहीं है। अब
कोई अच्छी बात मिलती है, हिम्मत मिलती है अपने बच्चों को कैसे पढ़ाना, कैसे नहीं पढ़ाना, कैसे बात करनी है उनसे, कैसे नहीं, और वर्ड्स सीखने सिखाने मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है।
So these are our parents, all their children are with us, and we feel very proud when they are the ones who come and say that, okay, this is what you had written in the circular. We could read it and we know what you had written. So they are also getting so empowered, and we feel very proud of that fact as well. So coming to teacher empowerment, that is a very, very important aspect, because teachers are, I would say, the sutradhars of this entire process of teaching learning. So it's very important for our teachers to be empowered enough to know what is, what should I bring to my learner. And we feel that teachers will be able to do all of that when they are connected with themselves. So it's very important for them to connect with themselves, know themselves, only then they will be able to connect with their child. So for that, we do a lot of outbound learning experience. So once in a year, I take all my teachers out of the hustle bustle of Delhi city, and we go sometimes we go to Rishikesh to rafting, sometimes we go to hills to visit a school there. So these are the why we do this is primarily to build a bond between each other. A lot of team building happens here. It is just, and it's not necessary that we should take our teachers out of the school to just have team building. We can also do it in our schools itself. It is just that if they are just taken away with from the day-to-day work for a while, if they're coming to school and we are saying, okay, we're just going to be having fun in school, we are not going to be working today, it is only our day to sing, dance, and maybe know about each other, only then we'll be able to build that bond. So that is something what we do, and which is very, very important. We also have Samvad, which is a very which is a constant once in a week session. What we do, Samvad is just coming together and talking about some readings. We do constant readings also. Samvad is a platform for our teachers to also come and conduct sessions. So every teacher is doing something or the other in her class, which is really good. She feels very good about it, that today I taught my children through this story, it really went well. So let's give that teacher a platform to come and share that with the other teachers. So she also feels empowered, and the other teachers also learn from her. So that's the platform of Samvad, where or maybe there is a teacher who's just gone and who's just attended a webinar and she's learned a lot from that. So she can come and she can conduct a session for the others. So that is also, that's the space what we have created as Samvad. And yes, a lot of reading also we do with our teachers, because we feel it's very important for our teachers to be readers. They need to know what happens. Yeah, there's another video here of one of our OLEs that's near Himachal, a place called Kanechi. We all had gone. Yeah, just a fun video. Please, you can play it.
No. Then I push the button with my tongue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been real fun. Right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. So before we end, we just want you to share with us some of the strategies that you have used in supporting your teachers during COVID, or your parental partnership endeavors during COVID, and what are the challenges you faced?
So, yeah, there were a lot of challenges. Maybe I can start with the challenges and then I can come to, how we supported our teachers, if that is all right with you. Purnima.
Yes, sure. Okay.
So yes, we all had a lot of challenges. I think when we talk about the entire community of early years educators, we all had a lot of challenges. We were all thrown into this new virtual world, and we were never ever taught how to deal with this technology and teach such young children who will never sit in front of the screen. So it was certainly a challenge. However, what we did was, I remember the first 2 months of 2020, so March and April, yeah. It was a time where we were just meeting everybody till 10 o'clock at night. Everybody was discussing that this worked in my class, this did not work in my class, this is how maybe we can work around it. and we can rectify this. No, there was a lot of our teachers are also young teachers, so they knew something about the technology. They told us that this is the technology what you can use, and we started exploring and learning from each other. So that's how when we collaboratively worked around the challenges, we were able to come out with solutions. And when we talk about our parents, what we also did with our parents was um, there are a lot of parents who are in IT sector in our school, so we connected with them as well. Like I said earlier, we never say it's you and us. It is all of us together. So we connected with those parents. We asked them that, what are the kind of things what you feel we can take, and they also suggested something, and we also suggested certain things for to the parents, and that's how we were able to overcome this challenge. And when we talk about maybe the support, what we did for the educators, it is all well-being for our teachers, because we all know this time is so difficult for our teachers, for all the teachers who are there. I think that they are the true warriors, because every day they pick up their gears and they are actually getting into this war field and fighting, because they know that every parent sitting there in front of the screen is watching them and judging them.
Correct.
In spite of the fact that every home has a story, even that teacher has a story in her home, but the parent is not looking at it. So it's very important for us as a school to think about the well-being of the teacher. If we are able to deal with that, because of the stress what the teacher is going through, it's important for us to look at the well-being, and we did a lot of well-being sessions. So that is something we really worked on for our teachers.
Excellent, wonderful. Okay, as we end, last two questions. As an advocate of good practices in early childhood, I want you to give a message to all our listeners.
So one thing which I always believe that, especially as an early years educator, it's very important for us to understand that we are holding the future in our hand. And what we are going to be making out of this, what we have in our hand, is going to be our future. So it's very important for us to be very mindful of that. And when we are dealing with these children who are the future, we have to be, it's just like that butterfly. If you're going to be pressing that butterfly very hard, it'll just die. And if you will just open it, it'll just fly. So how we are actually going to be holding that butterfly is in our hands. And this is the butterfly what we have in our hand. It's a huge responsibility. And like I always tell my teachers also, we are the ones who are either making or breaking a child's school life. And I think it's not only the school life, it's the entire life, because this is the base. So that's what I would like to say.
And I'd like to end with that according to you, Sumita, Malik, head of the early years of Shiv Nadar School, what is your most significant contribution to your school?
So I feel I have been able to, in this 9 years, I have been able to make a mindful community of learners. When I say mindful community of learners is not just children. We as educators are learners, even parents are learners, and even children are learners. So, and in this journey, we are very mindful of how we do what we do. And I think that's what I've been able to do.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sumita. So to sum up Shiv Nadar's exemplary practices, it is the starting of the day with the circle of love, using IEP and GEP for meeting every child's needs, inclusion of not only every child, but also parents from the P5. Your Samvad sessions of continuous professional development, and this is what NEP is talking about today. And above all, building mindful communities of learners, children, parents, and educators. Thank you so much, Sumita. I think there's been a lot of learning today, and I think our participants are ready with their questions. So, Grishma, could you please share with us the questions which have been posed?
Sure. Arjun Trivedi would like to know, coming back to your question on leadership, he appreciates the idea of distributed and empowered leadership, but still for the practical sake of building a school organization, he would like to know the structure of leadership as is on paper.
Yeah, so I would just like to say one thing here. I know many a times we feel if it is a distributed leadership, then decisions might not be taken. However, we very strongly feel that either you convince the other person or you get convinced. So that's when we do our discussion. That's what is very important. And when we look at the structure of our school, we have the head of the early years. We are a K-12 school, and in a K-12 school we have head of early years, head of primary years, and head of middle senior years, all at the same level. And her head has a year lead and a teaching learning lead, which always supports the year lead and the teachers. And then we do have the teachers. So that's the structure of, if you really want to know how on paper it is, that's how it is.
Thank you, ma'am. Beena James and Lata Venkataraman would like to know how many teachers and children are there in your class normally?
So we have 2 teachers in our class, and nursery and kindergarten, we have 25 children. When our children come to grade 1 and upwards, we have 30 children, and 2 teachers are only till grade 2. After that, we don't have 2 teachers, we have one teacher. So in early years, yes, we have 2 teachers and we have almost 30 children, yeah.
Lata Venkataraman would also like to know, how do you do differentiation in your online classes?
Yeah, thank you. It's a very important question. In fact, I would say that online classes, online platform has been helpful in that manner, because we can reach out to the child. If there is one-on-one session we have to do, we can also do it in the evening if the child is available at that time, or the teacher is also available, or maybe early morning if the parent is working. So we can fix that time of doing that one-on-one session at the child's convenience and the teacher's convenience. So it has been helpful rather for us to do on this platform.
That's great, ma'am. Sharika would like to know how often mental health of the child is taken into consideration, and what efforts are taken for that?
Always. Mental health is the important thing for us, because if our children are stressed, they will not learn anything. And in today's day and time, there is so much which is happening where even in homes, children are really exposed to a lot of things. So even our lesson plans and even our stories are very mindfully chosen. And we do bring out mindful words for our children to not get disturbed. And we do have our counselors who come and do some social stories, and they do some well-being stories as well for our children. So mental health is always on top for us, for our children and teachers, everyone.
That's really nice, ma'am. There is also one more question from Rani Narayanan. She's asking, please can you tell the time duration for kindergarten kids in this virtual platform?
So I know when we started this virtual platform, a lot of schools and a lot of parents were also saying that we are paying fees, so please have a longer hours of online sessions and all of that. But we stick to the research, which says that just 45 minutes for a 3 to 4 year old, and maybe just 1 hour or 1.5 hours for 5 to 6 year old. That's what we stuck to. And there were parents who were coming to us. Like I said earlier, either you get convinced or you convince the other person. So we always were talking to our parents, convincing them, sharing with them that this is the research, and this what I'm talking about, 1 hour of not passive interaction. It has to be a active interaction. Then it is good. Passive interaction we don't encourage at all for our children.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one last question from Ms. Namrata Rawat. She's asking, how are you ensuring socio-emotional development of children during the digital learning session during this COVID times, especially the social aspect?
Yeah, that has been a huge challenge. We see that, and we also fear that these children should not become loners when they grow up because they are not interacting. So keeping that in mind, what we have started doing is that we as school, we have started creating a plan where we talk about a lot of Mazedar Mondays, what we call it, or maybe heart to heart is a thing. What we there is a session where we just say, okay, today we're not going to be doing anything. It's a heart to heart session, which is planned in our weekly plan. So children come and they just talk about whatever they want to talk. So they will just share their things with the other children. It's not only just teaching, learning happening. And social emotional aspect, we all know is the aspect in early years. We have to really cater to that. So so we did that also. So a lot of these small little things what we have incorporated on the digital platform. We've also started doing play dates for our children now. So we give them a link and we say that, okay, initially we started it in our school. We say, okay, we all will go out in our breakout rooms. You talk about your toys, you talk about whatever you want to talk, and then we all can come back. So that's how we started doing the play dates. And then we encourage them that you all need to, this is the group, you need to meet over weekend and come back on Monday and share what all you all had discussed on this platform. So that's how we are trying to cater to this aspect. However, we know in the way it is done in the physical space, obviously it is not, we can't replicate that, but we are trying to do our best in that manner.
That's so true, ma'am. We have one more question, ma'am, from Sumita Raja. You spoke about your elevation sessions. So she'd like to know, do elevation sessions happen during their school timings, out of their class, as in beyond the school times?
So during the physical school space time when we were there, yes, it used to happen during the school time itself. But we always have been very mindful of the fact that the child should not be missing anything, especially the co-scholastic. If it is a games period, we don't say that the child has to go to elevation. No, it's very important for the child to go for games period. If the child needs an intervention in, say, language, and when in the class, language class is happening, the teacher will take that child out during that time. And we make it so much fun in that area where the other children also they want to come and they want to also go to the elevation class, and we create that kind of some sessions where the entire class also comes to the elevation session, so that at no point any child is also feeling that I am different from others, or the other children are also saying the same to the child. So we are trying to be mindful of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Purnima, ma'am.
Thank you, Grishma. Sumita, thank you so much. We just didn't want you to stop. but well, it's chai time in everybody's homes, and you all have to go. So thank you so much, Sumita, for such wonderful sharing. And I'm sure all of us are going to take so much back. And friends, we need to take it back and implement it in our own environment, in our own settings. And whatever is available for us, whatever is our environment, we can take some of these and implement and see how it works with you. Okay, thank you so much. But everybody, all our participants, thank you so much. And all the invitees, all the EC members, thank you so much. And Sumita ji, once again from AECD, thank you so much for all the sharing.
Purnima, can we get everybody to get their videos on, and we can just take a picture for posterity?
Okay, yes. Shall we all get our videos on?
Sumita, it was a wonderful session. Wonderful. There's so much to learn from what you're doing, really.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We're just trying to do our best. I know there is still a lot what we have to do. We have to learn so much still. But thank you.
And I loved what you said. Convince or get convinced. That's such a powerful statement.
Grishma, can you please switch on your camera, please?
Who else needs to switch on? Rekha, will you tell everybody?
I know there is still a lot what we have to do.
Rati, Jana, Ala.
I loved what you said. Convince or get convinced. That's such a powerful statement.
Wonderful session, Sumita. And I feel so privileged that I got to spend a day.
I was just wondering whether you all are here. One moment. Shekhar.
Thank you, Archana.
I loved what you said. Convince or get convinced. That's such a powerful statement.
Thank you, Sumita. I was once again reminded of my visit to your school, where I witnessed so many of these strategies that you use and you presented. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we switch off our video? We get off the Facebook?
Yes, please. I think we just need to thank our participants. We've had a wonderful participation.
Right.
So we will just thank them, and we can get out of FB Live.
Thank you so much.
Requesting Suchi, Rati, Jana, Ruben, Leena, and
have we stopped Facebook? We are still okay.
Yes,
Gone. Yeah, now we have gone off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, wonderful, Sujita. It was wonderful listening to you. Yeah, Sumita, sorry. It was wonderful listening to you. You know, it's like a dream come true when I'm listening to you. What a wonderful blend of education and care. Okay, when you talk about mental health, when you talk about this, you know, you are blending really. When we talk about care, it's just there along with the education. So I think so perfectly balanced, you know, wonderful.
I related to everything that she was saying. I was feeling so happy. Thank you so much, Sumita. Really. You made me feel as if I'm back to school.
Thank you.
I
Also, always feel that we should be also, children and people should be thinking about us. You know, we wish we were also kids at this.
I think we should open a branch in Delhi under your this thing.
Yes. After this, we are going to be after.
You have to take this up. Yes, you have to take this up.
I thought it was going to be in the pipeline, Vrinda and Purnima.
Yeah. It has to. You have to take it up. You have to take it up.
A lot of work was done. Then I think something.
That's
something
wonderful.
Yeah.
So we have
Mr. Chittaranjan, so nice to see you. Yeah. We're waiting to hear you too.
Been there, yeah, sir. Your two words.
Well, I think really a special time. I think it's a school that seems to have its heart and its head in both in the right places. It's brought a lot of heart to just engaging with the children, engaging with the parents. I think that's really important. I think many schools will do a lot of good work internally, but really forget the fact that the community and the parents are a critical part of what we do together. And I think that, and including, I think the stuff that you do with the parents from the underprivileged communities. I think just trying to make sure that they're comfortable. I think it's always been a question when children come in from underprivileged backgrounds, come into relatively privileged schools. how do they feel? What happens in the classroom? What is the nature of the reception that they get in the school? I think that's always been a question, and I think everything that you say really, it pays attention to it and brings it all together. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. It means so much to hear from you on that. Thank you very much. Thank you. It really means a lot.
Yes. Right. So are we all there for the photograph?
We have some videos missing.
Some have still not switched on their videos.
Okay.
Yeah, I've requested Jana, Mala.
Gauramma, can we see you, Gauramma, please?
Gauramma, Aurora.
Yeah.
Purnima, we have Lata also here.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Lata.
Shubhra ji, please put on your video.
Jasjeet, Rubin, Vrinda, and Jana.
Shubhra ji. Madhuri ji, namaste. We are looking forward to hearing from you.
You're on mute, Madhuri.
You are on mute.
Okay, so now I have only the video participants, and it's a big, please say a big cheese.
Yes, cheese. Yeah. Oh, we could hear that loud and clear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sumita ji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AECED, for this.
Yes, welcome. Can the National EC please stay back?
Yeah, sure.
Bye, all of you. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima ji. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you.
Welcome. Geeta, you really have done a wonderful job. We had so many from Baroda.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Sumita.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Purnima ma'am, for acknowledging it. I'm so happy that people responded.
Yes, yes.
There were a lot of reminders that went by, and yes, they were all excited to be a part of AECED. And membership is also waiting. So I am going to have a lot of members from Baroda too.
Right, right. Now, next we are going on with our branch.
Wonderful,
the branch, yes.
Jayashree, if you could tilt your camera on your device a little. Yeah, thank you.
Rekha, Meera didn't join today. Meera?
I have no clue.